let me recap kind of what happened and how we got to this point. So, last time, the last 2 sessions, really, the group had a conversation with the High Priest of the God of Death, Noric Torperos. Torperos is a man that is quite old, and normally his purview is overseeing funerals, consoling the loved ones of those that have passed, making offerings and holding sermons to the God of Death and to wish spirits well beyond the grave. Now he's been thrust into a unique position where he has been put into the care of the victims of the Lich Zaldosic, who was experimenting on a variety of people, that he was mutating into a variety of other things. Some of them horrific, some of them strangely docile, some of them so far gone in mind and body that they're limited to only a handful of words in whatever their native tongue might have been. The party rescued a number of these individuals, including Moth Girl, the companion that they've been taking care of up to this point. And when Moth Girl was finally introduced to Rocky, Moth Girl had quite the reaction indeed. Through a mix of communication, interpretation, and a little bit of drawings in the dirt, they determined that Rocky could potentially be some sort of key to another plane of existence, or at least some form of gateway that would lead Moth Girl and her mother home. Moth Girl's mother was there in the temple in Noric Torperos' care, where Noric Torperos, having been given a book of Zaldosic's research from another group of adventurers, had determined that there is a panacea, a cure, for all of the mutations and maladies and curses that have been laid upon these victims of the Lich. Of those, they needed a couple of supplies, the one that is hardest to get being hearts of direwolves. After setting the party to get these this particular ingredient, and with a particular ranger, Mech, the Owlin Ranger, telling them where they might be able to find a pack of direwolves, the party set out to gather supplies. Quinn took on the bag of holding and left to gather supplies on his own. Traps, meat, things like that. While the rest of the party started to make their way back to the Axe and Boot to plan out their next move. On their way, however, they were beset by a group of bandits. Their affiliation unknown, they fought the bandits off, several of them fleeing after several fireballs from Adre really reduced a couple of them to little more than ashes. They managed to save one individual, an Owlin fighter, who revealed himself to be Gregoire de la Signe, a member of the noble de la Signe family that Adre and Urist revealed were not on good terms with the dwarf and human. Now, I would say this is where we begin, but actually we are going to rewind. We're going to have a flashback to the moment that Quinn departed from the party and a conversation that he and Clume had right before the group parted ways. So, if you can look down at the bottom of the cathedral there, Renard, at the entrance, I take it to Quinn and Clume. Go ahead.
Okay, so just to help me out here since it's been a bit, so the party just left the cathedral and now they've kind of like hung out behind?
Yes, so most of the party has already left the cathedral. Quinn, I imagine, would have held Clume back to have this conversation.
Meanwhile, outside, we're popping Warren out of that grenade.
Yes! This was the whole scene where Warren came out of the bottle and then German suplexed a barrel and cracked it onto the ground.
Oh, yes. Right. Oh,
well, that's happening outside. This is happening inside.
I felt so bad. It was such a good idea.
It was.
But so as the group leaves, Quinn puts a hand on Clume's shoulder to stop her, and he says, Clume, I need to talk to you for a moment.
Sure, what's up?
He'll maybe like kind of just pull her aside so they're not like just standing directly in the doorway. So you just kind of over here.
In front of another doorway? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, you know.
Just, okay. It's
A
not
lesser
like,
traveled doorway, yeah.
yeah, you know.
From one doorway to another.
Yes. Yeah, so he kind of pulls her over. And he's very fidgety, which isn't usual for him, as Clume would know. And he kind of like glances back towards the altar where the priest is, and kind of back in like the direction of like the room full of the mutants they had all seen earlier. He turns back to Clume and he says, so during some of our downtime over the last couple of days, I've been conducting some research of my own, as admittedly some of my memories have been coming back to me.
Whom's eyes kind of like widen a bit. And, like, she kind of does that little thing where you do it with your hand where it's like, yeah, come on. You're telling me this? Keep speaking.
And, oh god, where do I start? Well, firstly, so the girl that we rescued and her mother, I don't believe they're creatures that have been changed by this wizard. I think they're from where we're from the Feywild.
Yeah, we've kind of been able to tell a little bit because of how Mothgirl reacted with Rocky.
Yeah. But it's not just that, I've been having these, I guess, recollections of my memory where I've seen myself with someone else, but he rubs at his head. I can never get a clear image of who it is, but I've had these memories that we used what I think were waystones, like Rocky, and I think I know how to use him to open a portal. But we need Rocky.
Who kind of is like, she stares at Quinn and looks at the door and is like, do you want me to go get it? Like,
I mean, I doubt it'll be easy. Warren is highly attached to it. As is the rest of the party, it feels like at this point.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure if we asked to see Rocky and see if your suspicions were true, I'm sure everything will be fine. But I get what you mean. It's just, how are we gonna get Rocky away without them really knowing anything?
Well, I've had an idea. Because honestly, I know I've expressed this to you before, I am not really keen in bringing them with us. I don't really care one way or the other. But I think if I can cause a distraction and you grab it, we'll make a run for it.
If you think it'll work.
I think so. You go ahead and catch up with the others. I'll go get a few things, and I'll figure out where you guys are and catch back up.
Then we fast forward through a fight with bandits and many fireballs and call lightnings later, as the group arrive at the accent boot and begin the interrogation of Gregoire de la Cine. The Owlin, looking around, confused, fearful for his life, battered and bruised by spell and punch and hammer and all of the above, looks, for all intents and purposes, like a bird about to be butchered and stuffed by this crew that is standing around him.
Oh!
Say, to add to his anxiety, there is a mushroom pig with its front trotters up on the table, glaring him down with a knife in its mouth.
Oh
Yes.
no!
Otis is over here also with the Book of Grudges looking like a whole cookbook.
Awful.
Mhm. Yep.
So, there's a long conversation ahead of us. You best be paying attention, because I'm not going to want to be repeating my questions.
I'm paying attention. What?
Oh, very good at listening. It's one of my great talents, actually.
Very good. Let's perhaps start with the basics, shall we? What exactly led you to be in an alleyway attacking us?
Ah, well, you see, I am part of a peacekeeping group, and was hired, along with a few others, to handle some peace disturbers.
On behalf of Augustine de la Cine, no doubt.
Well, yes, but actually, no.
Go on.
Don't know. You see, well, the thing is,
Padre summons a mage hand from the side and just sort of slaps him. I'm gonna assume I can do that because I'm not making it as an attack. It's just a
yeah.
mage
You leave
object.
it like a sting on his cheek, but it doesn't do any physical damage. Hey, excuse me. Well, it's quite a complicated, long, arduous story.
Another
One
slap.
shared.
Adre,
that?
Adre. No need to be too impolite. After all, he may. It's possible that he's delaying simply because he believes that there is a rescue coming for him rather shortly. Unfortunately, he had no way to know that no one saw us leave with him, much less come here.
Yeah, they probably all think he's dead right now.
Just so.
The other bodies
Like,
are pretty badly burned.
Aye, now you got the idea.
Make a intimidation check. So I'll allow you two to decide between yourselves whether Adre rolls it with advantage or Urist rolls it with advantage.
Urst.
What? I think so, yes.
Yeah, I have a -1 charisma mod.
Very good. So Adre assisting Urist. Go ahead and roll that.
No one teaches
I'm just
seriously 'cause
double
you're old
checking
man.
my silver tongue ability because I don't think it works on. No, intimidation is the charisma skill that it doesn't do.
Indeed.
All right, let's get this rolled up. 18 total.
18. So you are telling the truth, to which, and you're using the truth to your advantage to intimidate the Gregoire.
Accurate.
And so he is sweating. Owls don't really sweat, but you can kind of see that he has a heckin' concern on his face.
Just so.
His feathers are kind of puffed up, and his ears are far back and down. And he's just kind of in this awkward position. He can't really get comfortable on this cooking table with so many utensils of butchering and slaughtering so nearby.
Now, rest assured, Mr. De La Cine. Or is there a title to go with that?
No, haven't earned one myself.
Mr. De La Cine, then.
Yes.
It's you are very lucky in that any reports of your demise presently filtering back up the chain of command are, as of yet, unsubstantiated.
Yes.
Yet.
We shall endeavor together, you and I, to keep it that way.
Oh, yes, of course, yes.
So
Good to know.
you were about to tell us about being sent to keep the peace by Augustine de la Cine, I believe.
Yes, well, there's a, quite warm in here. There is a, number of individuals that, endeavor to keep a certain, status quo. you could say.
Aye, aye.
Keep the rich rich, as they say.
But of course. After all, there is something to be said for order, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Lord Odenet is, quite popular, and who says that should change?
Now pause
well-
for a moment there to make sure the audience is catching up. Lord Odenet currently is the ruler of the city, yeah?
Yes. You see, there's a group of nobles. Not all of them, but some of them. And the Delacine family is, helps to fund the peacekeepers, which is part of how I found my job there. They recommended me, as I was rather good with a blade, as I'm sure the larger one behind me can attest. I stabbed you good, didn't I?
Another mage hand smack. My problem is where it was directed.
Yes, well, you see, the Delacine Augustine was not the one that set us out to handle the issues of a particular group.
So he just helps fund and run the group, but he didn't send you after us.
Yes, I suppose that would be accurate. Actually, the person that was a little higher up the chain, and it's about this moment that the door opens and Jean Quinal appears with a bit of a dire look on his face.
Get it? Dire?
Quinn has the bag of holding at their side.
Mm-hmm.
They reach into it and they pull out a jar. And in a flash, they meet eyes with Clume and smash the jar onto the ground. Immediately, a huge white cloud of dust fills the air. Whoosh! As this jar erupts into smoke, filling the area immediately around you all. I need Urist, Adre, and Warren to make Constitution saving throws.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Trade.
Oh!
There it is. There's the first one of the
Oh
session.
my god.
Oof! A 3.
Again, 3.
That's a natural one for Zafane there.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay.
A 12 for Urist.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
Very
Guys,
nice.
there's some smoke.
Okay, so the smoke fills the air, and the first thing that you notice, Adre, you especially, you will take, because you rolled so poorly, 4 poison damage.
Just a second.
Yes,
Just
because you may have a
second.
resistance, I think.
I do, if I remember right.
Is it a resistance or is it an immunity?
Let's see.
It's immunity.
Deathless nature.
I don't even think you want T have immunity.
I have resistance to poison damage, and I have advantage on saving throws against disease and poison.
Okay, so this wasn't a saving throw against necessarily a poison, but this is kind of the effect. You'll take 2 poison damage as this smoke fills your lungs and immediately starts you coughing. Urist, you as well. You begin hacking and coughing as this stuff appears caustic.
Actually, Riley, sorry.
Yes.
Does it have to be breathed in?
Yes.
I don't
Uh-oh.
breathe.
Yeah, he doesn't breathe.
Oh, okay. So you
Oh,
will
shit.
not take the poison damage, but
Wait,
this
when
stuff
does-
does sting your eyes.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Okay.
we're still getting his eyes.
Yes.
Now, thanks to Dwarven resilience, Urist does have advantage and resistance to saving throws against poison and poison damage.
Okay. So, fuck me, I guess, for not reading my
Apparently.
spreadsheet.
It's like
But
smoke,
it's
and we're
fine.
all like,
So-
huh?
Instead of you guys coughing and hacking, it stings your eyes. It clouds the area around you. It's difficult to see. Your various resistances help you fight this off relatively quickly, but in that same moment, Clume, I need you to make a sleight of hand check with advantage And
Okay.
Warren, Adre, and Urist make perception checks with disadvantage.
All right.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Perception. I'm not good at that.
I
Ooh.
got a dirty 20.
Nice.
I got a 7.
Okay.
Aw.
Disadvantage, rolling up.
It's disadvantage.
Oh, that's an awful waste of a 20.
Oh.
So a 7, a
That's-
6 for Urist, and then for
And a
Warren.
Warren. A 7.
7.
So, in that moment, several things happen. One, as the smoke begins to fade, Quinn, Plume, and Grégoire are gone. And Warren... Never mind. That's all you notice for now.
Oh.
Well,
By the way,
then.
you're-
Smoke fades. The dwarven woman helps, brings out a massive fan that they use for, to clear smoke out due to cooking fires or something like that. Begins blowing the smoke out through the open door.
Erst
And-
has themselves a couple of coughs. Then once the air is a little clearer, draws a deep breath and adds 3 names to the book.
Ooh.
Oh
Warren-
shit.
Warren's just looking at the table like, I didn't know smoke could disintegrate. He's like checking himself over like, oh god, I'm not melting, am I?
As you check yourself over, Warren, you notice very quickly that Rocky is gone.
All right, hold
Erst,
on.
Erst is also going to do the classic adventuresome thing, and more or less takes a 10-foot pole and prods it briefly about the table, under the table, around the room, just making sure that they're not hanging around invisible.
Your pole pokes nothing.
Didn't think so.
Oh no, guys, I think Rocky disintegrated. A rock's allergic to smoke.
It's Warren's turn to get a bonk from the mage hand.
Nay,
Then
Warren.
disintegrate. We got double crossed.
Erst nods, finishing rising up and snaps the book closed, replacing it back within the side pocket of her vest. Aye, it would appear that we've been betrayed.
This is just such a foreign concept to Warren. He's like, betrayed?
What?
Aye, if I'm understanding the talk correctly, there's something about Rocky, and and Rocky's link is a keystone to a portal elsewhere that the rabbit and the mushroom want.
Well, why didn't
I
they just
didn't-
ask? Why did they have to kidnap my child?
Because they are fools in need of a paddling. Now, let's go and give it to them.
Okay. It seems it's very. He's like trying to process, like, but why? It's like they're not the bad guys. I don't understand.
Erst will take a few moments to properly try to explain it, which is basically to the tune of, Warren, they thought it would be better to take it from us than to ask us, because they don't think that highly of us.
At least have determined that, yes, out through the back door they went. And you head out into the alley behind the Axe and Boot. Going out into an open area, you see people just kind of going about their business. What do you do?
Well,
The three of you.
as we begin to go out, Erst is gonna just casually saunter up to somebody and do the whole. Well, say, I was looking to meet my friend here. By any chance, you see a tall fella with big old bunny ears run by?
The person you come up to is a Dragonborn that has kind of ruddy red scales, horns that kind of poke upwards at the very back. Turns to you and says, "Oh, well, I did see an individual like that looked like he had quite the fire lit under his ass, but he was going a different direction."
Oh yeah, where was he going?
Oh, well, down the main road to the east, before I lost sight.
Huh.
Had a little goblin with them.
Sounds like the right fella. Don't know why they'd be going that way. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, yeah, of course. You guys get to the end of the street, and you see a couple people milling about. There's a group of youngsters that are look to be rolling some sort of cigarette.
Don't mean to bother you. You look like you have your own stuff to do. But by any chance, do you see a friend of mine run by here? Tall chap, bunny ears, had a little goblin trailing after him. Oh,
The female of the group, with her incredible makeup, turns and looks up to the three mohawk guy, turns and looks down to a halfling male that is looks to be sharpening a knife, and then looks back to Urist. Adre, you notice with your perception check, there are some people that are kind of talking a little bit hurriedly near the gate, but otherwise, you know, nothing else out of the ordinary. No bunny, no mushroom in sight. The girl kind of leans forward and says, "I don't know. How much is that information worth?"
Urist was already, in fact, planning on this end of the conversation, and so with a snap of her fingers on her other hand, she flips a gold coin into the previously fire-holding hand and holds it out.
The girl nods to the taller three mohawk man who reaches out and opens his palm for it.
Erst passes it on over.
He closes his fist and then nods over towards the gate. "Yeah, bunny man. Went that way with a short mushroom-hatted girl. Looked to be in kind of a rush."
Out the gate and in it?
"Oh, yeah. Insane, if you ask me. Go outside the walls."
Yeah,
Right,
I
nod.
was afraid of that. Means I'm gonna have to go out after him.
Come up to the gate where an orc guard steps in your way. And he says, whoa, now. I'm afraid I can't let you go any further."
Uh-oh.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear it then.
Guard's like,
Guard's like, I just can't.
"Listen, we just had an incident. Would rather you stay inside the walls."
We're about to have another one.
You know we work for Dragon Danor, don't you?
Erst crosses her arms. Listen, I've been in and out this wall more times in the last month than I've had throughout my entire lifetime, and I warrant more half as many times more than half the city in all of their lifetimes. You best
I
be
get
letting us.
that. But the two that just went through, they said there's a party chasing them. And so I'm here to make sure that party keeps a distance. Right? So if they went beyond the walls, and I know the bunny man, and I know the girl with the mushroom cap. Right? They've been good. We have seen you coming in and out. I don't know what dramas happened, but I recommend you cool it off for a day and try again tomorrow.
Audrey,
It's,
without a word, slaps 10 gold coins into the guard's hand.
Or I can mind my own business. It's all your life. Very good. Didn't see a thing.
Damn.
Erst pats his shoulder. Not a thing. Not a thing. And off they go.
Not a thing. Goes this way, and around Darkhala, and out about there. Kind of like that sort of path, right?
Dang.
Sure.
This is a trek that takes several hours.
Mhm.
As
Goodness.
Warren, with his nose and your variety of skills and maybe a little bit of magic, pursue the scent of Rocky. It is a couple hours into this path. You guys become a little bit cognizant that you are further beyond the walls than either of you three have ever been before. You've taken paths, you've dealt with Ankegs, you've dealt with, various things. You've handled animals and dealt with the nomads well beyond the walls, but
Oh, we just properly set out for this one, huh?
yeah,
Mhm.
you're going, and there's points where you realize you're gonna have to stop to eat. You're gonna have to stop to rest. And it's about one of those points where, Adre, you feel a sharp pain in your hand where that mark was left. And you hear a voice in your mind that says, "What's your group done?"
Uh-oh.
He grips the mark on his hand and simply says, "Two of us backstabbed the others. We're tracking them right now."
We know where they are.
That's convenient. Thank
Please
you.
tell me.
An old ruin, South Arcala. They've lit up something.
Gate.
Yeah.
Gritting his teeth, sends back, "Don't kill them before I have the chance."
Don't worry. Eventually, you are joined by the nomads. They step out of the woods, silent as ever, and the leader that you recognize from your dealings with them before, Gotha, kneels down across from your group.
Audrey
says-
gives a respectful bow before kneeling down as well.
It seems your friends are no longer friends.
No longer friends. Like, wait.
Oh.
Oh
First-
no.
Welcome back, Sarion.
Erst,
Yeah.
Erst opens a hand to one side. It is unclear to us. They did not trust us enough to ask us for what they needed, and it is unclear what they want to do with it.
No surprise. What they seek to do, they have already done.
They move fast.
Audrey
Then they managed.
frowns.
Then they managed to get it open.
Oh, yes. The key was quite responsive. But perhaps it is because they are from that place that the door was so willing to open.
Aye, that would explain a thing or two.
And you wouldn't be here if that were a good thing.
You are very perceptive, Adre, friend of the nomads.
I guess we have to close it.
Do you?
Do you?
Well, I have to admit, doorways to other places aren't exactly my ken.
It's just the gate, like, it's like fairies, right? I'm sure they're harmless. You know, we could just.
Oh no.
Just like, you know.
Renard. Sorry,
I mean-
sorry. Warren.
Who's this Renard fellow?
Warren. The
It's one of the
opposite that.
nomads. It's one of the nomads.
Well,
There's a reason that the fairy tales often didn't end well for the children in them.
or could we just ask them nicely to go home?
That is. That's
Step one.
we'll call that Plan A.
Oh, okay. This portal business, it doesn't destroy Rocky, does it? It's not one of those sacrifice legends, right?
Erst looks over to the nomads and cocks an eyebrow.
No, the waystone is still there.
Oh. Oh, okay. I was a little
So,
concerned there.
How would we close it?
I do not know. We observe, but this is something my group has not seen for some time.
Erst gives a nod. I figured between Adre and I, we've got a fair shot at it.
That is good. This is outside of the interest of the nomads.
Aye. We appreciate your help in getting there, though.
Of course. Friend of Adre.
Erst nods respectfully.
But there is something else. The opening has attracted other parties.
No.
Because of course it has. I didn't suppose you're referring to the prince?
No. The prince is not here right now. This
Little
is
miracles.
someone from a displaced village, and another from a displaced family.
Why? Anyone we should know?
You should. You will. And you will take them to Arkala.
Okay.
No.
Aye. Didn't have any objections to keeping people safe behind the walls.
Good. What they represent is not far beyond your wall.
Erst quirks an eyebrow, but nods, accepting that as it was said.
Could we just befriend the Fae and just all be happy and just, to get along?
You are welcome to try.
Oh, good. Ernst, you're very good at that, Miss Ernst, right? You could just sing them a song or something, and it'll just,
Warren, if
yes.
the tales of the Fae of which I'm familiar with keep it true, there are any number of things that could go wrong with that.
But what if they went right?
Erst sort of taps her chin for a second, nods, and then says, "All right, Warren, listen to me carefully here.
Okay.
If we encounter the Fae, do not take anything they offer. do not eat anything they have, and do not tell them your name."
Oh, okay. Okay. I could do that. I could forget all kinds of things. What if they offer me Rocky though?
There is a difference between a gift and a deal, and there is a difference between. You should probably let me do the talking, lad.
I could do that. I'm very good at forgetting how to talk to. just
Whatever
please
they
get
offer
me my
you
rock.
likely wouldn't be Rocky.
Just get me my son back, please.
As the sun sets beyond the horizon, you see a different light. A yellowish swirl of color rising from the trees in the distance. You get closer and it gets brighter.
And now we can run.
And you start to book it.
Hustle, at least.
You start to hustle. You find
Yes.
yourselves amidst a ruin. The standing stones are the largest of the structure in the center of this space, of this clearing. It does not appear, there's no sheen or shimmer or anything like that within the standing stones themselves, and yet things are coming out from them. Butterflies are fluttering out from seemingly thin air, appearing and swirling around the gate and then disappearing back into it. Lights and motes of energy swirl and dance like fireflies blinking in and out of existence around these ruins. And upon a broken stump is Rocky. And Rocky is gently glowing. Runes carved upon his surface that glow a gentle blue. The nomads bow and gesture forward. It is through there that your former friends left.
Already gone through, are they?
Oh yes, some time ago.
If and you please, would you mind much making sure that no one messes with that before we get back?
That is not our purview.
I was afraid you were gonna say that. Where are the two that? Where then are the two that you said were gonna be here?
They're coming.
Aye, of course. Well, we may well get back before whoever else is coming here gets here.
Honestly, can it be worse than giant monsters?
Earth
attacking
shrugs.
the walls?
Earth shrugs and moves towards the portal. Adre, get down the runes, pictures, diagrams, everything you can, quick as a flash.
He groans, but makes his way over and pulls out his book and ink.
Warren, do not touch him or get too close. But feel free to give Rocky a look over, make sure he's all right.
Oh, thank you. Okay, he's gonna stay at least 5 foot away.
Okay.
The little 5 foot square, and he's kind of looking around. Oh, that's too close. He's like, oh, it's good I found you, Rocky. You did good. You were very brave. I'm very sorry. I'm very confused. If you're very confused, don't worry. I am also very confused. But don't worry. You have to stay here and do your best to keep the portal open. Okay? Can you do that for us, please? I know that's a lot to ask for you so soon. You're very young, Rock, but I believe in you. Look, a lot of people didn't believe in me when I was young, and it was very painful. But that I am here to believe in you. I am here for you. Now I'm going to have to go through the portal for a little while to see what our he stumbles for a moment. He wanted to say the word friends, but he's very confused as to whether they are still or not. So he's like, the party. Yes, there we go. Fellow adventurers, see what they are. If they might be in trouble, there might be something going on. The whole hostage thing, or maybe they're being mind controlled. That would be exciting, wouldn't it? But don't worry, I'll tell you all about it when I get back.
As you do that, Rocky responds by giving you a long, baleful howl.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh no!
Like what kind of
First-
howl?
Oh.
First
This-
looks over.
Sickening, dreadful sound of death begins to fill this space and echo beyond, above the trees. And I need all of you to make a wisdom saving throw.
All right.
Oh no! Wisdom!
Oh, poor Warren.
I don't think that's Rocky.
Always remember, you chose the stats for it.
14.
Oh, good.
Nice, nice.
Not bad, not bad.
7.
Uh-oh.
That one was peeking though.
I know, I saw it.
Yeah.
Come on, roll.
Roll.
Roll, dice, roll.
Come on, roll. What are you doing? There we go.
Yeah. Oh,
There it is. Okay. Urist and Warren, you are both frightened.
Oh.
The thing you are frightened of steps slowly through the portal. With the face of a very ugly man with a big nose and beard and wolf-like ears, sharp red eyes surrounded by fur, its hulking form stepping like a predator from within this portal, its body materializing into this space. And so, Urist, I need you to move yourself, let's say 15 feet away, and Warren the same thing, 15 feet away from this creature in whatever direction you choose.
Okay.
Yep, seems sensible to me.
As long as you are further away than where you started.
Ugh.
This creature steps from the portal, its beady eyes scanning the area, looking between Adre, Warren, and Urist. If you looked back, you would see that the nomads are gone.
Like, nope, peace out. You guys got
Of
this. Of course.
The creature begins to
Wow.
circle around Rocky, keeping his eyes on each of you and growling this low, guttural sound as saliva drips from his sharp fangs onto the dirt below. Now I need you to roll initiative.
Yeah,
It's murder time.
17.
it's morbid
Hey.
time.
It's morbid time.
21.
And Barry and Starion, I need you to roll initiative too.
Uh-oh.
Hey, let's go.
Okay. So the hound gets the 15. The woman gets a 21.
Barry, I think you've got the wrong character selected.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
It's all part of the
Yeah,
plan.
Yeah,
you think,
Oh,
don't you?
No.
Let's at least make an overture attempt before we just go ahead and start the murder.
Mm-hmm.
Erst keeps her sword in an on guard position, but doesn't make an aggressive action with it yet, and calls out, "If you can talk, this is your one chance to have a conversation before this gets ugly."
Make a persuasion check.
As you wish. As you wish. Let me just double check the ability. So I'm just gonna just noting the silver tongue that comes with us as always.
Of course.
All right, let's go ahead and roll that perception check, shall we? Sorry, that persuasion check, shall we? 15. But of course, by which I mean 19.
Okay. The creature growls. This low guttural thing, that seems to be its only response.
All right, that was less helpful than I was hoping.
Would you like to describe your character?
So I would probably say, who would even notice her since they're all looking at the wolf in the first place?
The audience that is watching.
Exactly. A magical
That's what I
fourth
mean,
wall.
But, all right. So it is a 5'4" human-looking woman. Her hair at the very top of her head, which she does have like a little cowlick at the top. It is a very bright and vibrant purple, and as it goes down, which her hair goes probably like a little bit above the butt, it gets darker and darker until it's just pure black. Her bangs are very long to the point where it actually covers her eyes, but she can still see fine. She wears a green and gray outfit, and one thing that people would notice is that on her like lower leg, as if beneath the knee, because her outfit kind of like is like a dress that kind of covers down to her knee. On her lower legs, her arms, her chest, and her face, she has little marks onto it. Just like her hair, her face, the marks start bright purple, and as they go down her body, it becomes black. Also, her sleeves are so long, they cover her hands. Alright, so she looks ahead. She's actually pretty calm, like despite there being a giant creature in front of her. Well, not directly in front, but you know, a little bit of distance. And I would probably say that they would hear her say this. So she says, "Oh, this must be the place. Perfect." And she turns and looks at the hound. "Oh, this is going to be a perfect opportunity. The nomads, they told me that the creatures might come out. This is going to be so exciting." And they hear her scream. Well, not scream, but more of just like a very high kind of voice. She just says, "Ready or not, here I come." And she casts Dissonant Whispers on the wolf.
Okay, go ahead, roll it up.
And it's going to be at first level.
Okay.
So he has to make me a wisdom saving throw.
Here it comes. It makes a 15.
Oh.
It just beats it, so it takes half,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. No further effects. But
Okay.
also, when she says that, as a bonus action, and I could do this once per long rest for free,
Mm-hmm.
the others would notice this. On the forehead of the beast, a black mark appears on his forehead. And it looks sort of similar to a pentagram, but it's more of a cubic kind of, like instead of being like a star, it's more like cube. As she casts Hex on it. And as she moves forward, she says, "Can I join?" That end my turn.
Does a 21 hit?
It does.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Nah. I was gonna do something, but never mind.
Okay. It does 11 points of piercing damage.
That's a fair bit.
Nom nom nom, as it gives you a good old bite. And hops back off to prepare itself for its next attack. If you would go ahead and describe your character.
All right, so kind of peering out from the edge of the tree line, there's a relatively short tiefling with skin that's dark purple, almost black in the light. She is draped in like different colored leathers and cloth. A lot of it looking very worn and dirty, like she's perhaps been out here for a while. A pair of ridged horns curls back on the top of her head over hair that is like very tightly curled down to about her shoulders. There's also a pair of wings that are kind of folded loosely behind her as she stalks forward, a spiked tail swaying behind her as she kind of takes in the scene in front of her. And she, observes this hellhound as it pounces on what, to her, is that like a bearded gnome? She has never seen one of these things before. It's short. It's weird. There's like this, what looks to be an old guy with like a mushroom on his head. That looks like an undead. Don't like it. And some other woman standing just in the background. She kind of looks and she's like, she just whispers to herself, "I don't know why you wanted me to come here, Ziot, but, I guess you have your reasons." And she'll kind of get a clear shot, because I know she's more than close enough. She'll kneel down on the ground, and she will take out a longbow that she had strapped to her back. She'll plant one end of it in the ground, and then draw back to fire at the hellhound.
Roll it up.
27 total.
27. Does hit. Roll up the damage.
All right. 10 piercing. So, as the arrow hits the beast, the wound around it suddenly glows with like this faint yellow color as she will activate, or as she kind of calls upon her power to use Favored Foe.
Okay.
Yeah, so 14 damage altogether.
Starting strong. However, an odd thing happens. Even as you manage to mark the foe, but the arrow that lodged itself into its body slowly begins to slide back out and then fall to the ground.
Oh, I don't like that.
I don't like that.
I'm gonna go for Urist, which actually looks to have meat on her bones. So here's the 2d20 for the disadvantage. It gets an 18 on the low roll, so 18 plus 6 is 24.
Oh man.
Holy shit.
I imagine that still hits.
Yeah, 24 hits.
Damn.
Well, this is going to Urist.
Oh, Urst, okay.
Okay. So that is going to be 12 points of piercing damage. As you get bit again in the other shoulder, as you asked. before it pulls back and gets ready for another vicious attack.
She sees her arrow or from earlier just kind of fall out of this thing and scowls like, how else am I supposed to damage this? So she puts her longbow away and she grabs at something that's underneath a swath of cloth that's kind of draped over her neck. And she whispers to herself, all right, Ziat, you wanted me here. I think we're gonna need your help. And how far away? Oh, yeah, excellent. So right here, the party will see like this yellow and blue energy just kind of starts to swirl in this space. Not all that far from Warren, like directly next to this creature. And this odd thing just kind of spawns to life as the energy coalesces and condenses into it. It's about maybe this thing's tiny. I don't know, Riley, how big would you say this thing is? Like 4 feet long-ish? It's supposed to be small.
It's supposed to be small, but I'd say it's probably the size of like a medium-sized dog, or maybe like leaning into a large-sized dog. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like
Truffle size.
dog-sized, almost dog-shaped.
I never want to hear the word spoogaloo ever again.
That is a crit.
Oh,
Baby.
do I see 8 plus 1 and 22 plus 21?
Oh.
You do.
43 plus 9, 52 damage?
Holy shit.
No, bad dog.
Describe how you destroy this thing utterly, Lauren.
Hey.
Jesus Christ.
Warren is just like, so you see, as the dog charges by, right? It kind of bumps into the pillar with Rocky on it, and considering the last thing he heard was "Don't touch it; it could be dangerous." He was like, and so he does angry. His eyes, like the little dots in his eyes, they glow red, and he just runs up and he drops his he throws his hammer to the ground. He just tries to grab this thing, and because he's very angry, his hand just suddenly bursts into a blackish fire. I'm sure Ragdoll is just doing a cackle right now as the Warren just goes and just grabs the thing by the scruff of its neck, and it just disintegrates.
Yeah, there is a moment where everything in this clearing is silent, and all you hear is the last dying gurgles of this hound. Ragdoll with wings spread upon Warren's head, cackling this crow-like caw into the air, and just the disintegration of slowing flesh as it falls to the ground, completely decimated by necrotic magic.
Erst was a little spooked, but is no longer spooked.
Indeed.
Don't forget to remove the spooks.
She makes her way over and approaches the corpse to get a closer look, as well as these new companions, or erstwhile companions at least. Erst cocks an eyebrow over at Ophelia. So, you want to explain that?
What?
Normally it takes a little more for me to get a strange woman to let her put spirits into me.
He just gives you.
It's a double entendre because spirit also means alcohol.
Audrey just looks at Urist and says, "It literally just takes a hello."
And we didn't hear it. Did you hear a hello? Come on, Audrey.
Okay, no, you're right.
You had nothing to fear, dear. Look, watch this. And she approaches Udist, and she taps onto her armor with her finger. And you notice, as she gets closer, you notice these marks are not really like surface skin marks. They're indentations all across her body. And as she reveals her hand, you see that that same pentagram, cubic pentagram mark that was on the wolf is now, not now, but is on her hand. and as she touches your armor, that spirit that entered your body screams and leaps out as it tries to like claw Ophelia, but she knew that was gonna happen, so she like kind of just like sidestepped it. And she just stares and says, "That was more insurance if that wolf tried to get too frisky with you."
The screaming snaps Warren out of his, like, this sort of dead-ass stare at where the dog used to be. And he's like, what? What happened?
The spirit pops out of Udis's armor, and as it like approaches Ophelia, she points to like upwards, and the spirit disappears.
I was like, well, that was fancy. Was that dead?
Do you have a name there, Miss?
Ophelia, you may call me.
Would I recognize this beast at all? Like, does it seem familiar in any way? Just curious.
Nah. Roll a knowledge arcana check.
Oh
No.
God, Arcana!
Oh, there you go.
Not 20, but it's a 19!
Hell yeah.
Okay, that's the second time that's happened
Yeah.
tonight.
Both -1 characters got
Yeah.
it.
I have no intelligence. I was raised in
Okay.
the woods.
So, Ibenixis, your memory goes back to times when you and Ziat have communed with each other, spoken of stories, of tales, of times of other places. And Ziat told you about creatures to beware of in certain realms of existence. This is a Yeth hound.
Mm-hmm.
The reason
Yeth
that your
hound?
arrows would not pierce it, the reason that your warhammer would not hurt it, was that they are immune to any non-magical and non-silvered weapons. It is a beast that usually responds to a master telepathically, and that is fiercely loyal, fiercely intelligent, and fiercely fierce at doing what it is commanded to do.
Yeah, kind of like YETH, I'm assuming?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. So she kind of looks at it and with a thoughtful look. Well, if you guys are chasing after some friends, it may be a wise idea to check out the other side of that portal. These things usually don't act of their own accord.
Aye, that is especially troublesome then. We're gonna be going through to see if the other side is safe, and if there's any sign of our prodigal companions.
Audrey shakes his head in annoyance and says, I swear, if we have to save them after what they've done.
Meanwhile, Nixie looks over at Ziat, who's managed to detach himself from Warren and kind of just relaxing, kind of sniffing towards the portal. She looks back at the weird bearded gnome. Still don't know what the hell this thing is. She says, "Well, he wanted me to come, so guess I'll tag along." Well, my name is Ibenixis, though my family usually just calls me Nixie.
Are you both feeling up to a trip to the Feywilds?
Of course, I can make a small detour.
Honestly, I've only ever heard, myths about this place. I didn't think it was real, so I mean, sure.
Alright. In that case, the general ferry rules are in place. Dinna eat anything. Dinna accept any gifts from people that seem overly friendly. Or in general. Dinna tell them your name.
You step forward between the standing stones. Urist, you watched as Warren steps forward and vanishes. Is completely gone as soon as he hits a certain threshold. There's no shimmer. It's just gone. Warren ceases to be in this plane of existence.
Whoosh.
You
And
follow,
Urist-
and one by one, you step forward, bravely passing through this mysterious Fey portal. the center point of more magic than there has ever been within this kind of proximity to Arcala, at least in recent history. One by one, vanishing, and each of you witnesses darkness. The world went from this dusk with hazy glow and swirling spirits to blackness, the blackness of deep, deep night. Your eyes slowly adjust because there is light here. There is a little bit of a glow to the area. You see these motes of energy blink into existence. Some of them far away, some of them so close to your face that you feel you need to swat them away like a bug. There are trees, and the roots hum and thrum, and there's a droning sound, a bzzz, all throughout this, at different pitches and different peaks, this droning that echoes and bounces and changes and shifts as light begins to pulse from a stone behind you. A stone written with runes and swirls that glows with a golden light inlaid with blue rivers of energy. You notice also a smell, a sweet smell on the air. Smell of vanilla and cinnamon. Treats. Immediately, your mouth begins to salivate, perhaps, on its own, as you smell these sweet, sugary scents. But otherwise, it's quiet. It's still. And beyond a few feet, even if you have dark vision, it's difficult to see. It's difficult to make out shapes. You can see that there's foliage, there's grass beneath your feet, there are stones nearby. You seem to be in kind of a stony alcove with roots from a larger tree reaching down the cliffside and into this gently glowing space.
The realm, this place works differently. All right, let's set off. Urs
Warren.
points in a random direction.
You also notice Ragnall is not with you.
Ah! Immediate
Right.
panic.
What? Urs adjusts the rapier, hoping to catch whatever's coming. What is it?
Ragnall, he's gone. I don't know where he went.
Oh, is that all?
He's like patting himself down like, did I misplace him? Did he fall off? He's looking at the ground. Does anyone see a bird?
Urs keeps the rapier up, but gives Warren's shoulder a little pat. Don't worry, if you can still feel your powers, then he's in your heart.
So I'll kind of take a little marching order, and you begin to press forward.
Mm-hmm. Just so.
The droning sound continues, and you hear it shift. A buzz that goes across one area to your right, and then another from your left, fading in the distance, and then another coming closer, and then stopping, and then shifting away. A hiss, a whoosh of air that flows through this area and slides through the trees that begin to sing as branches and leaves knock together and rustle. You get the feeling that there is a lot of something alive here, just outside of your vision, as this darkness, this suffocating darkness, presses in. The path leads you beyond the stone. You press forward, and you finally get your first glimpse as Urist's lamp helps to light the way. You see large, fuzzy-butted bees with little black stingers coming out their butts. and big, big green compound eyes, and big wings that buzz and hum and flutter back and forth. And the two of them are just chilling, nibbling on some flowery, nectary goodness from a plant that looks as alien as the rest of this. These bees each are the size of your head. They're massive. And yet they move around like they're diminutive overworld cousins. Getting out of your way, opening the path forward. Their big eyes slowly watching you as their fuzzy butts wiggle and pollen kind of dusts into the air.
Mm-hmm.
You come to what appears to be a more normal path. The stone, well-worn.
Just warning you, you have a bee with us.
I do, yeah. It got attached.
Ziad just kind of grabbed it.
Yeah, Ziad grabs it, and the bee just kind of is in Ziad's mouth. Not even like, not even worried. The bee is just like, Ziad isn't harming it. It's just there, and it's like, this is my life. I am in a large lizard's mouth.
What have you got there? A bee! No!
No!
Has anyone
Like when the
seen?
golden retriever's just carrying around a duckling.
Has anyone seen Bentley the pug? That the video where he what do you call it? He just walks up to a butterfly and bites it and runs.
Oh my god, yes. It's so dumb.
It's a butterfly, Bentley. Bentley, no!
Bentley, no.
You press forward, and eventually there is a figure that stands in your path. It is wielding a spear, its tip made of some blue gem, the haft out of some dark wood. It, in and of itself, is an insect person. It stands upon two legs, with two sets of smaller arms about at the bottom of the ribcage and two larger arms that are holding the spear. Its eyes are large, compound, and its antennae fold forward and fan out in these large leaf-like white fans. Its wings are folded gently across its back, giving it the appearance of a gossamer cape that gently flutters in the breeze that passes through this area. Its coloration is yellow and black. It's chitin polished, and it wears scraps of leather armor across its torso and waist. And you notice that it has a large bulbous abdomen. For all intents and purposes, this looks like what a bee and a person combined may look like. It taps the haft of its spear, the pommel of its spear, into the ground and says, "Halt," in a gentle, peaceful voice.
And halt we do.
"Hail, traveler.
Darren?
You are so far from home."
Far from home indeed, but debts must be repaid.
Ah. You, the bee person, for lack of a better term, points to Adre.
The being?
The bee.
The being, yeah, perfect. The being, we're gonna go with that. The being points to Adre. "Lift your hand.
Lift my what?
Your hand. Show it to me."
He lifts the unmarked one.
The other hand.
Lets out a sigh and holds up the other hand.
Ah. You are a friend of the nomads of the material world. It was said that you would come. The nomads have so few friends.
Erst nods. We are friends to as many as we can be, and we seek out a pair who did wrong to that friendship. As I said,
Ah.
debts must be repaid.
I see. Though I do not know of whom you speak. But come. Izode has been expecting you. And then suddenly, with a massive whoosh, it parts. And an incredible being stands before you.
Oh.
Incredible being.
Being, yes indeed.
Uh,
I am Izode, guardian of the Glen of Honey. To whom do I speak? There's a subtle buzzing underneath its voice, as if 1,000 insects are trapped within its throat.
We are pleased and well met to make your acquaintance, and thank you for your welcome. We are a set of humble travelers seeking two who have gone before us, who wronged us in some extent.
You have all the pieces, but time. This is the wrong time. You should not be here yet.
Nay, I am afraid both you and your realms did not feature in any of the stories I heard to date.
No, they would not. I have you here. You are a bard. Would you write of me?
Aye, depending on exactly how she sort of twirls a hand in the air. Depending on any terms and conditions that may apply. I did not want to be getting myself in debt, nor to make you indebted to me without good cause. Though
Izode kind of is glossing over what you're talking about and begins to lift an arm up as if in a dramatic pose, as if they're about to, call to a maiden on a balcony.
and Urs,
Write
in the
me
meantime,
as a tragic hero, a leader of a glen, of the brave, but the foolish.
Right, you
Ophelia,
like-
hearing the words tragic, her cowlick perks up. And as she takes out her little book and starts, you hear a little sketching.
Urs, in the meanwhile, is nodding and has indeed slipped out a book to flip to the rear of it and begin taking a few minor notes.
Say that yes, that I and the exiled one had quite the tryst. A kiss between planes. A passion of god and god killer.
The exiled one, you say? You speak, of course, of the Nomad King?
Yes. Oh, what a king. He came here once before. He drank of the ambrosia of this glen, and then he left with nary a goodbye.
Seems kind of rude to take something and not pay it back in some way.
Urs nods. Tragic indeed.
I know, right?
Like, totally.
Think they would
Urs
be
is in-
able to sample the royal honey of a queen as glorious as I and turn away. But that is their fate. That is their destiny.
And Ernest is both now in full scribble mode, properly taking down as much of this as she reasonably can, while at the same time in full commiseration mode.
You can see that much of the realm around you, the beings, the fairies, even a couple of the large head-sized beasts, are just kind of settled in to listen. They're wrapped. They're hooked in on this story.
And the tragedy knows because he did not know what he had in hand. To be able to be with a being such as yourself, the opportunity, the glory, no doubt the passion.
To be or not
But-
to be.
I was waiting for it.
As they're speaking,
There it is.
Audrey like leans over to Ophelia and very quietly whispers, "It's gonna be full of bee puns."
Yeah.
Ophelia like
Yeah.
leans into Audrey and is like, "Oh, you better believe it."
That was the question I asked the exiled one. If he would be my being, my king among the glen of honey.
Scribble, scribble,
Turned
scribble.
away from it
Scribble,
all.
scribble.
But then he returned.
Oh.
I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Ernst moves back up, slowly putting a line through the never to return bit.
But then I kind of forget what happens. There was something about some other gods that don't matter.
You just hear angry Ragnall noises off in the distance.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then he came back when it was done, and he porked up all the ambrosia that he took from me.
Oh.
Oh.
No, that's normal for us. That's how we would normally share food, so we thought he was sharing, but apparently other beings, there's much more gastric acid that comes up, and it's rather unpleasant.
A number
What?
of further. A number of further scribbles, and at this point, a small diagram also begins to take place.
Also,
One word, gross.
Why do I feel like this would be the kind of person to like say Leviosa from freaking Harry Potter?
One of the beings reaches over and grabs Urist. Urist, I need you to make either an acrobatics or an athletic check to avoid being dragged away by this other being.
Like, away,
Oh,
away,
no.
or like back a little bit.
You're not sure.
Uh-oh.
Like, stop.
Urist is going to let herself be pulled one square back and give the moth/bee person a firm, questioning look. As
They keep dragging. You are moved, and they seem to be dragging you towards one of the trees.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Pulls out the
First-
book.
That one don't look
Make an
right.
acrobatics or athletics check if you wish to resist.
Urist is going to gently, carefully brace.
Okay.
Like it's just, she's not trying to be aggressive about it, but but as she leans back a little bit to avoid being fully pulled, she lays a hand atop its and says, "You best be telling me what you want me over here for."
Okay,
17.
so 17 acrobatics. Here comes the strength check. It's a 20 strength check to drag you away.
One
Okay.
second. Wait, before he
Okay.
does that, before he starts dragging, let me double check something real fast. Okay. So, as the thing is dragging away Urist,
Mhm.
Ophelia turns and just stares at it. And as she stares, she tilts her head. And as she's tilting her head, she tilts it farther and farther until everybody can hear an audible crack noise come from her neck. As I'm gonna cast silvery barbs on it. So now it has to re-roll with disadvantage.
Okay.
And Urist gets advantage on their next roll.
On their next roll. Okay.
Yes.
So this one meets it. So there's a moment where dwarf bracing and the being strength is like suddenly sapped.
It's
and
more there's a little less lucky. That's all there is to it.
yeah, there is a moment in that struggle where Izode flicks a wrist and Urist is flung into the arms of this being. More like a spin, really. Because you're being dragged backwards. Now suddenly you are facing this being, and you see like their fluff around their chest, and the being wraps four arms around you. It just hugs you there.
Urs is still not being hostile, but but that eyebrow, the singular eyebrow, at this point has migrated up as close to the hairline as she can realistically get it, and it seems to be threatening to crawl its way up towards the margin of the page.
Yeah. The being holds you there. Your face in fluff. It's very, very soft. It smells sweetly of vanilla. It's very pleasant, actually. It's a nice, firm hug. Doesn't seem to be letting go. What do you do?
Urs will endure for the moment.
Okay.
And,
So you are held in that position. While this is happening, Ibn Ixis, again, the bees buzz in and, like, give a hip check to Ibn Ixis to slide her over. And then a couple other bees, like, one of them, you would think it's kind of comical, the way it just kind of, like, seems to accidentally bonk Warren on the back of the head. Warren, I need you to make a dexterity check to keep from stumbling forward.
Wee! Oh boy. Come on, fail. Almost stumble forward. Here we go.
Fail. Wow.
Oh, Warren.
Wee!
You are shoved forward by the machinations of this bee creature, and Izode finally leans forward and again whispers conspiratorially.
I'm about to become a drug addict over here. Hold on.
Warren, time has been so kind. Oh, Warren, would you be my paladin?
Oh no!
Oh,
No!
Oh, look.
Erst's head does that whole owl spin thing over to look at the pair of them. Then turns more slowly back towards the bee person holding her and sort of gives a nod. Ah, I see.
I see.
you say, I see, no sound comes from your mouth. Your mouth moves, no sound comes from it.
Oh.
It's like, oh, see, look, all these gods like to give me power. I must be the greatest paladin ever. Yeah, you see, I happen to have divine intervention from the rock god, and I think it was Racknull. I don't know where he went. But I always do like to, if I could get more divine power, I like to fight in the name of justice and good. That sort of thing. I assume you're one of the good gods, correct? I've been informed there were bad ones.
You can see, even though its face is so alien and so featureless, its antennae are buzzing and with excitement as it leans in and says, "Oh yes, you are very special indeed, Warren. Oh, you could be my paladin and spread my honey across the lands."
Riley,
Yes.
Riley, Ernst was hoping that she wouldn't have to do this,
Okay.
but she gently, very slowly and very ominously lifts a finger up, reaches it forward, and boops the snoot of the bee person holding her.
The bee looks offended, but does nothing else.
Looks offended. How dare you put my snoot?
She
Damn.
She makes a gesture back with a hand in a sweeping motion back towards Warren and quirks her eyebrow up. It's very much communicating the I need to be involved here, please.
I need to be involved.
The being whispers with such a silky and lovely voice, "No, I think Izode has determined you've spoken enough."
You've spoken up.
Yeah.
Can Audrey make an insight on Izode?
Yes.
like what are the? Because Warren thinks he's gonna be able to shoot honey out of his hands or something.
Does Audrey have any sort of bonus due to their previous quick encounter in the
No.
magic? Okay.
Yeah, that small vision was not enough to tell you what kind of person or being this is.
Oh, I meant more along intent.
Intent? I'll roll it up and let's see what happens.
Ooh.
Hey.
19.
Okay, so this, you, through the words and the overt actions of this being, you get the feeling that Warren is like a candy that they want very, very badly.
Quite.
Candy.
And you're not sure why Warren is attracting so much attention from super powerful beings like Ragnall and like Izode, but you get the feeling that whatever happens, like, Izode is absolutely looking to use Warren for something.
First,
And their
continues the-
intent towards the rest of us?
Heh.
The rest of you might as well not exist at the moment to this being. That's the insight that you get. Go ahead, Alex.
Sorry. I do not mean to interrupt, but
Mhm.
Urs continues a quiet negotiation. This time gently lifting up the book and pointing at the closed book at this point, and pointing at it with the other hand. She's still not actively struggling to get out, since she still doesn't want to be impolite given the whole domain thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
But she's indicating that she's not pleased with this and not exactly taking it kindly.
Yeah, I imagine Urs like points very urgently to the word grudge across the front of the book.
More or less.
You want to look at the book?
The being leans forward and says, "This is not your party to control. Let little Warren make his own decision."
Urs shakes her head in the you didn't get what I'm trying to say sort of way,
Mhm.
and then and stuffing the book back into her pocket makes the one hand up, one hand down scales motion. The concept she's getting across is negotiation.
Make a persuasion check.
That's right.
With advantage if you want, by the way, because silvery barbs.
Oh,
That's
God.
right.
Right. This is a good time for it.
Well,
And-
it would have been 10 anyway. So,
Nope. Sorry, 19.
Oh, plus.
I-
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't roll less than a 10, and advantage didn't actually get me over it.
Yeah.
That's actually really funny. So the being is, struggling because you're trying to get this across like silently, right? So you
She
don't
doesn't-
have all of the advantage that you would by using your words, but she's getting the gist. And she leans in again and she says, "You wish to be some sort of defendant?"
I need a lawyer.
Urs tilts her head sort of back and forth before giving a tentative nod and holding up her fingers a little ways apart. And she'll try speaking in hopes that the silent effect is gone.
It is still there, because it is not this being that cast it upon you. The being turns, her glistening white chitin, and she's dressed in like some very fine silk, almost like a nightgown. And she turns to Izode, and as Izode is like practically drooling over Warren, this being speaks up and says, "My queen." And Izode's antenna twitches in annoyance. And it continues. "The dwarven female wishes to be Warren's negotiator in these matters."
Urs nods quite happily.
And Izode, like, you hear a slurping sound that is literally like Izode, like, slurping drool back into
Oh,
its
God.
mouth.
Oh,
Swallows, turns, and like, it's the antennae swivel down in a glare at Urist. There's another flick, and once again you're spun back around, still very much in the grasp of this being, but now facing the group. And the silence is gone from your mouth.
Urs, ever the courtier, gives a nod. Thank you, O guardian of the Grove of Honey. I apologize for intruding, but Warren. She twists a hand in the air with care before continuing. does Nen always know what exactly he wants, or have the words to put proper what he can offer. I dinna wish to be opposed to you. I wish if the two of you are to have an accord, to make the accord the best it can be.
Oh, that's a good point.
Offend me, and my new paladin to be, and Izode like leans in close, never quite touching Warren, but obviously acting possessive. Finally, like one clawed hand like draws gently, like motherly across Warren's cheek, and it speaks. Warren is a big, strapping young man that is very intelligent.
Oh, he strikes like a heroic pose, kind of like he's a little proud, like, oh, look at that. So
Warren,
smart.
you don't need this silly, bearded woman to speak for you, do you?
And so he stops his things and he's like, well, you know, she has made sure I didn't get into too much trouble. I tend to do that a lot. I mean, I would like more paladin power. As a paladin, I do. It's like it's my job to channel the divine. Correct? It's, you know, I just want to make sure that I'm not getting taken advantage of, or something like that. You know.
Oh,
also,
yes. You can channel my divine all day.
At that point, Ophelia's kind of like, wait. And she looks over at Warren. You're supposed to be a paladin?
Of course, Ragnall gives me the power of like undead stuff, and rock god whose name I can never remember gives me. And he stops for a second, and then there's.
You are the saddest excuse for a paladin I have ever met.
Oh,
Erst full-on face palms and actively leans away from big ol' bee guardian.
If you are so willing to disrespect your other gods and you want to just bounce around like some fucking whore, then I won't get in your way. But a true paladin would stick to one.
He kind of sits there. He's like, "Do what?"
Meanwhile, Nixie's just slow. Would Nixie just be able to like slowly creep away? Because she's just very uncomfortable being this close to Izode. Would
Ophelia
Izode
just
notice?
saw her. Ophelia just saw her neighbor sneaking women in, and called him out on it.
Erst leans back against the tuft and murmurs to the bee, does anybody who hangs about with you do things like this on the regular? Because I'm beginning to tire of it.
Oh my goodness. So Warren, yeah, what do you do?
He's
all
just
the attention's on
confused.
you.
He's like, well, I've never read that in the rules before. It's, you know, to channel the divine.
Izode is tapping its chin with one hand, and it finally speaks. Yes, Warren, you would have to give up your ties to those other deities to take on my vows.
So he's like, wait, that could be a problem. I don't think you're supposed to do that.
Erst gives a nod. That's kind of what I was going to point out. Again, meaning no offense to either of you, but this is a complex situation you're both finding yourself in.
So, because it's like, you know, I had the you know, Ragnall and the other one at the same time, and, you know, I figured you could, you know, it could be 3 paladins at once.
No, I see what you're going for, Warren, and I'm not necessarily against it, but it's something that you have to discuss with the gods you're partnering up with, because gods must be properly cared for. They are, and Erst nods with respect towards big ol' bee guardian. They are creatures that dinna always play nice with each other. And there are creatures that want what you have to offer, often for themselves. You're special, Warren. Don't sell yourself short, and that means that you have to be careful about your relationships and what you do and don't promise to them.
No, that's a good point. We should get the others involved. You know, we have to have a meeting. You know, if you sign up, you know, we've got to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
Erst over here preparing to be the first person to sell Paladin timeshares.
Oh my god. Izode does tilt its head a little bit and says, "Well, that is a problem. Ragnall isn't welcome in the Feywild."
Oh. Well, that could be an issue. Is there somewhere we could then meet on equal footing?
At that suggestion, the whole glen gets silent. The droning stops. Bees that were buzzing around quickly land. And you can see all of the beings stiffen.
Hail,
Izode
hail,
itself-
Fisher King of bees.
Izode itself becomes firm, and she pulls away from Warren just
This
a
is a
touch.
she.
Who knows? Gender fluid.
Gender,
Fair.
Gods transcend gender.
Transcend.
And
How
it
does- Go on,
leans back and says, "There is such a place. But it is very dangerous."
What is danger to make sure that, we can bring the good and divine back into the world?
No. I shan't do something like that. Not again. I learned
Again?
my lesson. The exiled one. Well, that's old news. So, who's up for a wonderful taste of ambrosia?
Warren's a little deflated. He's like, oh.
Afia kind of looks around, sees that Ibn Nixus is like uncomfortable as all hell. Sees that Udis is getting their face smushed by Bee-Booba.
Yep.
And Warren is like deflated now.
The
She's like,
back of their head, technically.
Yes.
It's still Bee-Booba.
It's a nice
Yeah.
pillow.
She's like, I think we're gonna have to excuse ourselves. I think we have a lot to think about.
Yes. You are, of course, welcome in the Glen of Honey. My servants will tend to you and treat you as their own. I must contemplate, and when it is the correct time, do see me again, and I will open the path for you.
To our erstwhile party members?
No. They are of no
Oh.
consequence. No.
They're of consequence to us.
To another place. Yes. I see it now. I must prepare. And Izode turns, and
A moment.
she is already moving away, fading. The vision of Izode, the sight fading away into nothing. As if the opacity is just turned down. Until eventually she vanishes completely.
Erst has herself a little sigh. Then turns to the bee holding her. Does
We're
that
done
happen
here.
often?
Does that happen often?
Actually, Izode only appears like once every 2,000 years or so.
Aw, they gave up bee powers.
I hope. I do hope we didn't get your hopes up for nothing then.
Oh, no. The next 2,000 years will go by in the span of a blink.
Very good. I didn't suppose I can entreat upon you to tell me where our companions went when they entered through.
We have no idea.
Nope.
Earth sort of holds up a hand. Person, rabbit ears, about this tall, lowers her hand.
Nope,
Goblin,
never seen
mushroom
them.
on her head, about this tall.
Make an insight. Do an insight.
I was expecting they haven't yet.
That would be a
Uh,
twist.
That would.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh.
Erst is going to check as far as she can tell.
Ooh. Wow.
I turned
Oh.
off advantage. Why did that? Oh no, it didn't.
No,
No,
It did. Yeah, no, it's good.
20,
Yeah,
25.
Oh, very high.
25.
rolled so
yeah.
high that he was so shocked.
Right. As far as you can tell, this being is giving it to you straight.
They
All right.
probably don't pay attention to anyone that comes through. They probably only watch for important people. And she puts air quotes on important.
Ernst turns momentarily. Adre, with the information given and the assistance offered, are we considering your headache grudge closed?
I don't know what that was.
Aye, that is part of the problem, and it's why I have to ask rather than just scratch it out.
No.
Right. Until next time, then.
I mean, apparently we're gonna have to be talking to her again anyway.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Hello?
Hello, bees.
Yeah, the bees are just vibing. They surround Ophelia and Ibonixis, and they kind of like one each lands on one of Ibonix's wings. They just hang there. They're just hanging.
Just vibing.
They're surprisingly light.
Nixie
for
looks
being
at him
such
like-
light bees.
Wait, are one or two of the bees like on Ophelia?
Oh yeah, they're crawling. Like one of them just plops onto Ophelia's head and begins nuzzling into her hair.
Ophelia instinctually attempts to grab the bee off her head,
The bee is grabbed off your head.
and she stares at it.
It stares back.
As she says, "Oh my god, a live specimen! We're gonna
No
have
thoughts,
so
man.
much fun together."
It begins
There's-
wiggling uncomfortably.
Earth sighs.
And then
No experimenting on things that we have a modest truce with.
she looks at Urus. "You're no fun." She gives the bee a slight crush, not enough to hurt it, just like enough to get her point across, like don't land on her again, and throws
Just a
her.
little squeeze. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
kind
goes to
of,
bee.
you hear a little, not really a crack, but you hear a little kind of, and then it buzzes off.
Just a
Oh.
full-on clown.
I can't
Uh,
believe they gave me clown juice.
Oh my
All
god.
right. Ernst claps her hands together. All right, if this is in the right time to go wherever apparently the Fae want us to go later, and we're going to need to return, at the moment it's probably best that we be going back to the city. Ernst turns
city?
and Ernst turns and notes Ibonixis with the bees on her wings. Aye, Miss Beefling. Yes, that's exactly correct.
Nixie just kind of like stares at her for a long moment, like, what do you mean? She doesn't get it. She's all right with the bees on her wings. Yeah, she just kind of like shifts around a little, but she looks at Ortis like, "Are you talking about Arcala?"
Ernst nods. Aye, that I am.
She like shifts really uncomfortably, not because of the bees. This topic seems kind of for her.
Is there something we should be talking about when we get back into the real realm?
Yes, probably.
Ophelia turns her head. Oh, no, you go.
I mean, if you're from the city, maybe I can ask some questions.
Aye, that sounds like a lovely idea. Let us be off now. We do not want to overstay our welcome.
The bee holding Urus doesn't let go. And in fact, the guard that holds that fancy spear kind of leans into Adre and says, "So, what would you like for breakfast?"
Uh-oh.
You said it would be 2,000 years before your deity returns?
Maybe.
Yes.
See, we won't even live that long.
Oh,
We do
Sure
have
you
other
will.
things we need to attend to.
Sure you will.
no. What do you want for breakfast?
What do you want for breakfast? I'll take a stack of pancakes. I love pancakes.
Yes, we have pancakes.
Oh, perfect.
Audrey is going to glance at the others.
Ophelia looks at Audrey. Experimentation time?
Erst has herself a little sigh, and sort of pats the one of the hands of the bee that's currently wrapped around forward over her chest. I didn't mind the forward thinking you got here, and another time I may well take you up on what's apparently on top.
Nice.
Just nice.
But I am afraid I didn't know quite how time works in this realm, and I didn't want to be taking any chances.
At that, there's like a couple of the beings that kind of just exchange glances. A bee eventually lands on Adre's hat and starts to like, you know how mushrooms have those like kind of stuff on the inside, those like ribs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like reaching in with its little feet, trying to look for pollen.
Aw.
It's been adorable.
And
The
another one of the beings, the paladin actually comes over to Warren and says, I like your armor.
I like your armor. Are you a paladin? Are you a bee paladin?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah, yeah.
exciting. Which god do you channel divinity through?
Oh, the one that was just here.
Oh, that's cool. What kind of powers do you have?
Well, healing mostly.
Oh, that's pretty good. I can't do
Yeah.
that. It's really unfortunate. I tried to heal someone once and they almost died.
Oh, that doesn't sound very cool.
Let me
Oh,
see
it wasn't.
something real fast.
It was
You
pretty
just
bad.
made a dog explode.
Yeah.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, it was. Well, I don't quite remember that. I was very angry at the time, but it was. I'm pretty sure it was pretty awesome. At least
I don't think
you know.
I've ever made a dog explode before. That's pretty cool.
Actually, that is an interesting question. Do any of you here own a Yeth Hound?
And there's another kind of like exchange of looks. A few of them just shake their head.
Bloody Feywilds.
Did you maybe see one pass through it all?
The guard kind of steps past Audrey after, writing something on a little notepad about breakfast. No, Yethhounds, such vile creatures, wouldn't be let within a league or two within our glen.
Well, it walked out of the portal that brought us here.
Oh, well, that's a portal. That's not our problem.
Yeah, that's about what I thought they were going to be saying.
Lovely. It's not anchored.
Hopefully, it's not anchored.
Erst is becoming a little more agitated and just a little more concerned, and so is trying to get actual information out of her erstwhile hugger.
Can Audrey roll an insight on the nature of the portal?
Yes. Roll an Arcana.
And if that one is still holding Urus, could Ziat just kind of go over and start like sniffing at them, like
Absolutely.
trying to just be a general little nuisance?
Oh, yeah, totally. 15 Arcana. So, portal work
sorry.
is... Yep.
I'm going to use my knowledge from a past life. So, let's see here. When I make an ability check that uses a skill, I can roll a d6 and add the number rolled to the check.
Go for it.
Oh.
Ooh.
Very nice, very nice.
19 total.
Comes up to 19. So, at first thought, you're thinking portal magic. That's advanced. You know theoretically that there are other planes of existence, and it is from some of those other planes of existence that some magic springs forth. Not all magic, not all fire magic is from the plane of fire necessarily. Reaching those other planes of existence to actually transport a living being harmlessly is incredibly advanced. Then you're also talking about the Feywild, which in and of itself is a chaotic mirror of the land of the material plane. It would not surprise you if the location that the portal sends you to is randomized. Or perhaps dependent upon some other factor. The phase of the moon, the alignment of the stars, the season, the time of day.
Is it likely that our connection from this side is going to break?
You don't think so.
Oh, good.
At least you hope not.
So Erst is still again trying to weasel a little bit more knowledge out of him. So if and we hang about for a little bit, is time gonna be passing more slowly on the other side, more quickly on the other side? Are we gonna be returning just where we left off?
There's a resounding shrug.
That's what I was afraid of. All right, Erst is still sort of patting and rubbing a couple of the hands that she's spooned back of the being she spooned back against,
Which is now at this point like kind of like trying to nudge Ziat off of her gown to keep Ziat from tearing. Hey, stop! Hey,
Stop.
No, he continues and might try to like give one of her arms a lick.
Just
Now,
this whine of resistance.
Now I do. Didn't get me wrong. I appreciate this. What's going on here, and I'm not entirely opposed to the notion. After all, I quite enjoy honey and various associated things. But if I didn't know when I'm coming back out of the portal, that is a problem. Now, if I can be assured that everything's going to go quite all right, then I think perhaps there's a bigger chance of staying the night.
Oh yeah. Oh, if Izode said everything was going to be okay and you're going to come back, then everything's fine.
But their exact words were a little bit off there. That we will return does not mean that when I leave now, or whenever I leave, I'm coming out where I expect to be. It means that I'm coming back in here. That's two different things.
You're too smart for your own good, but you do smell nice.
You just smell
Both things are true, and I thank you for the compliment. You also are quite pleasant in so many ways.
Oh, yes. Ophelia, what did you want for breakfast?
He doesn't answer. You could tell she's like tapping her foot on the floor. Like she's like, all right, I had enough of this place.
We have croquettes. And we have
Hell's a croquette.
chocolate.
While he's speaking,
Hell is chocolate.
Ophelia's shooing the bees off of Ibanex's wings.
The bees kind of like
Hey.
buzz off eventually, and they kind of scatter and move away.
Oh,
my bees.
oh, they were all right.
And then Ophelia's like dusting off Ibanexus, and she's like, look, I don't want those things close to us, Ebi. Okay?
Oh, do you two know each other?
Huh?
No?
No.
Ah,
I mean, I don't mind the nickname. It's fine. She like kind of gives her wings a shake to like dust off any pollen. But
I also like the nickname EB, since it has B in it.
oh no.
I love these guys. They're the best.
Hey, so, I was thinking maybe you could show me some of your moves, like how you move around in that armor. Like, do you ever have to, like, tuck and roll?
Oh, all the time. In fact, I exploded twice. It was quite intense. Yeah, I know. And I had to. Well, I didn't really stick the landing both times, but next time.
Well, hey, you survived it. That's pretty cool.
I know. I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I survived.
Yeah. Hey, well, so I see you use a hammer.
Oh yeah.
Like, what's up with that?
Well, it allows me, they don't trust me with sharp objects anymore. I ran with them once, and it was a very bad time in the middle of the city. So I'm not allowed to use that anymore, so I have to use blunt things,
Yeah, I'm kind of stuck, because they don't let me have a shield anymore, because it blocks my vision, so I run into things more often, so they gave me this spear. It kind of shows you a spear. It's a very nice spear.
Oh, I
Tipped
see.
with, like an emerald spear tip.
That's
Here I was
very-
thinking you were going to describe like a knife on a stick.
like glued there by wax. Like,
Yeah. But I'm
That's
still
right.
kind of I can't like hit like it just feels wrong thrusting, to attack, you know what I mean?
oh yes, of course. I am not very good at the thrust myself. That's why I usually go for the hammer. The big smash. I'm very good at smashing.
Yeah, well, maybe we can practice thrusting together.
Yes, you can teach me to thrust, and I can teach you to smash.
Oh, that would
Oh.
be really cool.
Oh, no.
Indeed, it would be the cool.
Here we observe the himbo mating ritual.
I want it on record that that Ernst saw this coming a mile away, like at the start of that conversation. And so she's having to move towards
Yes.
finally putting her foot down. All right. Now, while I am quite impressed with the... She taps her chin for a second. While I am quite impressed with the welcome that we're being given, I do think we really should at least stick our heads back out the portal and find out if and when it's going to be a problem for us.
Considering it didn't take us to the same place as our compatriots, and it didn't take us to the same place as the Hound.
Aye.
The longer we stay, the less chance, I think.
I didn't know how portal mechanics work. If we're coming back at the same place, the same time, all of these things are things I didn't know. And without knowing, unfortunately, she squirms her way back around to face her bee hugger and slips a hand up to gently caress the chitinous cheek. As much as I'd like to take some time to sample the locals' honey in greater detail, perhaps see how well they do about eating pollen out of a beard, we'll have to leave that for another time, I do believe.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Pollen out of a beard.
Oh my dear, trust me. Given the opportunity, you'll be able to sample a certain dwarven flower that you've probably never had before, and I'll like to definitely see exactly how much of that tuft feels beneath my fingers. But there's a much longer evening we're going to have in the future about that.
The other being kind of leans forward and says, "So, no breakfast?"
No, we should get back to our own realm for the moment, but we will be back in time for the great Izadeh to appear again.
We have pumpkin spice muffins.
Oh,
You hear Ophelia
How can you
like,
spice
honestly-
a pumpkin?
I don't
You're
know,
telling me a
really.
pumpkin spice to this.
I'm not a chef. I just know we have them.
Not at the words of muffin, but at the words pumpkin spice, you audibly hear Ophelia gag.
Come on.
As you begin to wiggle free of the being's temptations and their grasp, literally and figuratively.
Ernst is fully going in the opposite direction at this point. It's no longer the whole I must struggle out of their hold. Ernst is doing the bard thing of no, you will be seduced and then you will do what I want.
I know, Alex, but I'm. Hear me out.
Go ahead.
As you begin to wiggle free, negotiating out of their grasp, literally and figuratively,
Accurate.
this is where we are going to end our episode.
Oh.
Oh.